All right, everybody, we're back. Episode 11, Shoot the J. As always, I have my brother Tyrone Jackson with me, my brother Don Jackson with me at the bottom. And before we start off with our customary, what are you drinking? Just want to let you know, hey, if you want to be on the show, send us an inbox. Send me an inbox, let us know, and we'll definitely get you on here. I'm loving the diverse group that we've been having for the last few weeks. The people from out of state, out of town, different age groups. We're just loving that variety. But as we always start off, what are you drinking?
Got a little combination, orange juice and what do you call it? What's stuff you take for colds and stuff like that? Emergency kind of stuff. And then some tea there, bruh.
That don't look too good in that bottle, Don. You need to see a doctor.
It's in a red cup like it's a real drink.
Uh-huh.
But it's really orange juice.
Well,
this is what the body prescribes.
I got a little Crown Apple in a frozen mug here.
Okay.
Shout out to Lauzas also with the frozen mugs. Also, they're supposed to be going out of business. They're selling the building, so I'm depressed about that. So I have poured a little bit out to Lauzas,
Did you steal that from Lauzas, or they gave it to you for frequent flyer miles or something? Okay.
My wife's purse was real heavy when we walked out of there.
That's
Hey,
like
I have a
Disney's frozen mug.
Hey man, I had a friend. Every gig, he'd take a glass home until he got a set.
Wow!
Took him 8 weeks.
Whoa, he went for 8 glass set, huh?
Eight pieces, bro.
Wow! Did it say "Raised on the River" on the?
I'm not gonna bust him that hard, right?
All right. No, a dear friend of mine got me this for my birthday, or was it? I think for Father's Day. It was for Father's Day. So,
Let it snow.
that's right. So let's start it off with our number one topic, the big event that's coming this week. Oh, also before we begin, since we're talking about boxing, before we start boxing, shout out to my sister-in-law for giving me the towel from the Triller fight this past weekend. She was on the production staff, and also the press credentials, the Zone A to be in Mike Tyson's camp as well, along with a bottle from the fight in L.A., the Mike Tyson-Roy Jones Jr. fight. So while we're on that path, let's talk about boxing. Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence. What do y'all think is the outcome on this fight tomorrow night?
Don, you go.
Go ahead, Don.
I don't know. This is a tough one for me. Spence is coming off this horrific car accident. We know that he's been training. Ty last week said he looked sharper than he ever has. I still haven't seen him in a weigh-in or anything yet. I know Danny Garcia is hungry. I mean, this could go either way in my book. But if you look at previous fights, Spence is the best tactician. So I think Spence has let's just say he's the favorite.
Okay. Tyrone?
Well, I heard an interview where he said he was talking to Stephen A. Smith and said he's gonna beat up Garcia. He's gonna make him quit. He's gonna give him a beating that he's never had before, and he said he's gonna make him quit.
Oh wow!
So he looks to be in great shape. I don't think you can just walk down Danny Garcia like that, but he doesn't have to fight Garcia like he says he's gonna do it. He may box him like he did Mikey Garcia. But, timing can beat speed almost any day, so he's got to be careful with the time. Don't stay in the pocket too long. But Spence is a smarter fighter than people think he is, and if he's not drinking and his mind is clear, it might be good for him. But just don't get lulled to sleep against Danny Garcia. The fight that I referenced for Danny Garcia is him and Sean Porter was a cat and mouse fight, and it could have gone either way. And the same thing with Spence and Sean Porter. If you look at the way they fought each other, Sean Porter is a bad draw for anybody, but both of them executed pretty good, even though Sean Porter beat Danny Garcia, right?
Yes, he's one of the only losses on his record is against Sean Porter, and the other one was Keith Thurman.
Right, right. So yeah, it was a good fight on both the courts. But I'll give the edge to Spence because if he came out of that car accident, uh, to me, fighting is like a collision, a car accident every time you fight somebody.
That's a good point. I really don't know where to go with this fight. I mean, this is his first fight since the accident, so we couldn't get a look. Is he the same as he was before? I did see him, as Tyrone said, really svelte in the gym. He looks like a natural welterweight. He doesn't look puffy like he kind of did at middleweight. Looks like this is a natural size. But if you saw that car accident that guy was in, where that Ferrari was flipping up in the air like 3, 4, 5 times, you know what I mean? And to take your first fight back against a guy like Danny Garcia, who's elite level, is tough. So I'm not sure. I mean, if he's gonna come and bang like he did with Shawn Porter, I don't think that's a good move for him. But to his point, when he said to Stephen A. Smith that he's gonna punish him and make him quit, that tells me he's gonna be a tactician on him and just punish him and just stay on the outside and jab him to death and counter him when it's time, but not take any chances. So I'm curious to see which Errol Spence shows up. I mean, Danny Garcia is middle of the road. He's even to me. Like, he doesn't have a letdown in his fights. It's not like he underperforms, ever. He comes in good shape and he comes in as himself. So I don't even know who to pick on this. But normally I put a few dollars, here there. But my little money gonna stay right in my pocket for this fight. I can't risk it, during these times.
You put money on Kell Brook?
Kell Brook. No, man. I'm money on the British fighters.
What Ty said, and you reiterated, Dave, is that he said he's going to try to beat somebody up, which means you got to take punishment. Okay? And you don't know how tender one of those ribs or back vertebrae is until you start taking some good licks. Garcia is not a chump, and he's a good counter puncher. So, in order to beat somebody up, that means you're going to absorb.
Yeah, look, and he said basically to your effect, he wants to show that he can take punishment is what he said as well, okay, which kind of alarms me because the injuries that he had was mostly to his face. He had to get full implants across the front, like veneers, implants, and everything across the front, and he couldn't fight before because he had to wait until the bone in the top of his jaw meshed with those implants that they put across the front. So, I mean, this is not like it's on the side of your ribs where you may or may not get hit. The guy's aiming for your face almost every punch, So that's a heck of a thing to get, you're going to go in and start taking damage to that area, after you got it surgically repaired. So I'm with y'all. I'm just curious to see, which Spence is going to come up in this bravado. Is he saying this to sell a fight, or is he really going to try and bang with Danny Garcia? Because Garcia can hit for a welterweight,
Yeah, it's hard out here for pandemic times. They trying to make their money, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They got to make it, bro. They can't fight no little Joe Smo, bro, to get no bread, bro. You don't know when they're going to fight again, bro.
No, that's true. You got to take these opportunities, while you can. That's exactly right. Yeah. Let's move on to the Los Angeles Lakers. Okay, they just announced this week that Anthony Davis, a big news, signed 5-year, $190 million deal. And LeBron James has signed up for 2 additional years at $85 million. What does this mean to y'all? Does this mean this is going to be a dynasty by you having these 2 pieces in place that they can rattle off 1 or more championships after this last one? Or does this mean that basically LeBron is going to retire out into the sunset? They may win some, they may lose some, and then turn the team over to Anthony Davis. What does this say for the rest of the league and for the Lakers? Ty, I'll let you go first on this one.
I say that that is saying that. Whether it's going to be that is a different situation. I'm always, my own personal bias is that you start with a point guard and big man, and then you work your way out from there. But you have to take who you can take in the draft and stuff like that, whoever is the best person available, and you make your transition from, if you're a good coach, you're gonna make your offense work around the talent that you have, not always make your talent conform. Right. So you saw with Vogel, they got a very big team at the beginning, and then they picked up Morris, which went to be a big move so they could match up with that small ball and stuff like that. So I think they're just trying to overwhelm people with their size and athleticism. And with Anthony Davis youth, I think that he's going to have a bigger role this season. You'll see LeBron rest a little bit more until it becomes a playoff time. And so they'll lean on Anthony Davis more. And Schroeder now that you got instant scoring coming in. So I think it's going to be a hard formula to beat. But we know that in the NBA, teams try to copy off of winning formulas. And if somebody does not try to copy and have their own identity like a Denver could probably be tough because everybody's already overlooking those guys, you know. And Phoenix, got to be careful with Phoenix. So I think they're poised to do something. That's my take.
You think they're poised to become repeat champions?
It's hard when you've been to the mountain so many times to be hungry for the next event. So we'll see if somebody challenges LeBron, like if the Clippers try to, then it might give him some more fire. But we'll see. I don't think I see anybody with their size beating them.
Don?
I agree with Ty. I can't say anything other than the GMs from the Lakers said, okay, this is the business deal. You bring us a championship, we'll solidify your contracts. And that's what they did. It's like any other business deal. We'll see what you're worth when both of you all come on board. And sure enough, they did what they said they was going to do. They're going to win the championship. So now you always know, like Tyrone said, people poach off the winning team and try to get those players that they feel contributed so much to their success. And so then the Lakers then made a decision. We'll part ways with certain folks like Rondo and JaVale McGee and Dwight Howard, because they figured, I guess, these are folks. I know they don't feel like they can replace Rondo, but I guess they figured they could get pretty doggone close. So you look at the pieces they've added, and they're going to try to duplicate that same success with those kind of big men they have, and then Schroeder and his athleticism. So, the what I think for the Lakers is the worry is, and onus is not on them really to repeat. The onus is on the rest of the league to beat them.
Right.
The West, they're really trying to become carbon copies of what the Lakers are doing. So the onus is on the West to try and beat them.
Something you said, Don, about replacing Rondo, I've been thinking about all day. Schroeder is a more dynamic player than Rondo is, but he's not what I call a more timely player than Rondo is, and a guy who controls pacing like Rondo can really control and think through the game, when I don't think Schroeder does. And Schroeder gives you more points and athletic ability per game, but is he that shrewd point guard that knows when to slow it down a little bit, know when to milk the hot hand, when to shoot open himself, or is he just one of those Barbosa types who's just, full speed, or Westbrook full speed, go into the game with that mentality? So to me, what the Lakers are saying is, as long as I got LeBron, as long as I got AD, we'll rotate pieces out around these guys this year, next year, and this year, and next year. But if I have those guys, I can win. But this year, they're going to have to beat teams differently than they beat them last year. I looked at the footage of their playoff run and the games in the bubble, and they were just beating teams up. They come in with JaVale McGee. Then they take him out and put Dwight Howard in the game. Then Anthony Davis is starting. Then when Anthony Davis comes out, LeBron is playing with Dwight Howard. They're not going to be able to beat teams up this way this year. Marc Gasol is not that athletic force that Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee were. So they're going to try to beat you more in a half-court set. I see that with Marc Gasol, and out-rebound you to a certain degree. But in my mind, Anthony Davis is going to have to play a little more center this year than he did last year. And they're going to beat you with a deeper bench because you still got Caruso signed. You got Schroeder. Can't forget about Kyle Kuzma still giving you points, off the bench as well.
Got Harrell.
What's that?
Montrezl Harrell.
Montrezl Harrell. They're going to be a deeper team. I
Got
think
KCP.
Right. But they're going to beat people differently, I think, this year. And what I've been hearing about what it means for the rest of the West, what I've been hearing coming out of the Clippers organization is that Kawhi's special treatment. They kind of give Paul George a pass because he had double shoulder surgery. So, yeah, this guy should take practice time off. What I'm hearing is not just that Kawhi was living in San Diego 3 hours outside of L.A., that he had veto power over practices, whether they're going to practice today or not. And the dude also wanted a 45-minute private locker room time before the rest of his players. So all other players on the team got to sit outside and wait for him to get his 45 minutes while he's in the locker room by himself before games is one of the demands that he had, which JaMychal Green left because of that. Montrezl Harrell took less money to leave them. Rondo didn't sign over there, and they added Ibaka, who's a friend of Kawhi's. But both of those guys on one-year deals, Kawhi and Paul George. So I don't see a dynasty coming from the Clippers. I also think Denver got a little bit weaker by losing Grant because Grant was giving LeBron some business during that series. Now you don't have a small forward to match up with LeBron. He's going to be able to run wreck shot on you. He's in Detroit now. Grant's in Detroit now, Jeremy Grant. And then they broke up Harden and Westbrook, and they added John Wall. So I don't even know how competitive Houston is going to be. What do y'all think about that Houston move?
I gotta say something real quick on your last comment.
Yeah.
As a coach, since I'm trying to be a problem solver, why you want some extra minutes in the locker room by yourself? Just come early. You got 4 o'clock show up time. You better be there for 4 o'clock. Else your time is up, buddy. So that's how I saw that.
Come on, man. 4 o'clock. Huh?
Yeah, give them 50 minutes
Everybody
early.
else, y'all show up at 6. But why? You know what time you need to be there. Period. I mean, that's how we do that. I don't understand these. I still can't get that because basketball is just like football. It's such a team sport.
Yes.
And everybody has to be held accountable because everybody is giving up their body and their abilities when they step on the floor. So you really, that's the quickest way to tear a team apart is to start talking about who has perks, who doesn't, who's good, who's not, who brings the most to the team, who doesn't. It's supposed to be everybody, all the team against the world. It's your team against the world. I mean, we know that personally playing on teams together.
Right.
Teams. We also know what it means when you have a cancer on the team. With
team meetings.
with saying seeing that Westbrook in Houston, you might see a different Houston. Harden had gotten pretty used of being that lead dog on Houston team and everybody rotating around him. John Wall is still trying to come off of this ACL. I'm not ACL. This Achilles injury. So that may give him just the pace he needs, Wall, to kind of get back to his explosiveness. I really see him just being that explosive coming on the scene. We know how great he was when he was on the court himself. So that may work out in Houston's favor. Westbrook going to Washington may give them the injection in their arm, their boost, the turbo boost they need because, Beal has been there by himself trying to make things work, and we've seen what has happened with that. So it doesn't sound like a bad move at all to me.
To piggyback off of Don, too, with the Clippers thing first, I read just yesterday that Tyronn Lue, who is good with managing players, like think about it, he was on the Lakers team with Shaq and Kobe, with 2 personalities. He had LeBron and Kyrie at Cleveland and managed those 2 attitudes, which is weird.
Don't forget Kevin Love, who's kind of introverted and withdrawn.
Right. So he commented that after Kawhi got kicked out of the playoffs by Denver, he's been taking on a more assertive role, calling people, organizing. They can't have practices, but organizing like little shoot-arounds and stuff like that, and then calling everybody. So this is, like I said before last year, your star player got to be at least, can't be the one that's quiet. It's got to be some kind of way vocal. And for him doing that means something as well. So maybe this might be good for him. I mean, when you're the superstar of a team and you get beat out before you get to the game that you're supposed to be facing, you're going to take that personally because all eyes, think about it, Kawhi never really had the spotlight on him when things went bad. Even when he was in Toronto, they were winning without him being in the lineup.
Yes.
They just needed him for a specific moment.
Yes.
Kind of like with Golden State needing KD. They needed him for a specific moment.
Yes.
But now when you go to the Clippers and you are the man now, the moment is on you all the time. If you skip a game because of whatever, they say, hey, where's Kawhi? He's supposed to be the leader, especially if they lose. To Don's point about Houston, I believe that's going to be a great thing for John Wall if he plays the true point guard position and Harden transitions to a shooting guard.
Yes.
And not dominate the ball. But remember, they also have Boogie Cousins as well. So that pairing of John Wall and Cousins could be a good one. I just want to see what Harden is gonna fit in and how will he dominate a brand new coach in Silas. Is that Paul Silas' son or something?
I don't know.
I don't know. But Silas, I can't think of his first name. His last name is Silas. But I think they've given Harden everything to succeed all those years. And this might be another one of those years. And then the other side, Russell Westbrook is being reunited with Scott Brooks, who was the coach at OKC. So he's getting everything that he needs. You know, he's got Bradley Beal and he's got some pieces. So if he doesn't succeed at this level, where does he go next? You know, that's what I feel like Harden and Westbrook are tied together. Where do you go next if it doesn't succeed now? We're trying to give you everything.
Right.
You better join LeBron James. That's all I can say.
Yeah, we've given you everything that we could give
Right.
you. You know, you can't get it done. And hey, when you have a guy like LeBron in the league, similar to when Jordan was in the league, it's hard to win championships. It doesn't take anything away from you as a great player. Ask guys like Karl Malone and Charles Barkley and Patrick Ewing, who didn't win and who toiled for 20 years and didn't win a ring. When you have a dominant force in the league like that, like Bill Russell, those type of guys, generational type talents, it's hard to come by rings. So sometimes it's not like the spotlight on what the other guy is doing wrong. Sometimes they got a guy that's just so dominant in the league that he'll go to 10 championships on you. Like LeBron, he's been to 10 finals and inviting guys from every era. That's right. So sometimes it's not about like, well, Harden can't get it done. A lot of guys couldn't get it done when Jordan was in the league. It didn't take away from their talent. It's just got a force of nature in the league right now that they just waiting for this guy to get out, you know? So I got our guest in the waiting room. I think y'all might know this gentleman.
Okay.
Let's admit him.
Oh. Yes, sir.
There he is.
What's up, people?
What's
Got the
up?
Phantom
What's up,
Menace.
Luke Reed?
Got the Phantom Menace on here, man.
Live from the 7th Ward, we got Mark Bukri, local executive. I think you work with Capital One. Is that correct?
11 years, Capital One Bank.
You on a board? Are you on a board with St. Aug as well?
Yeah, I'm on the board of directors of St. Augustine High School for 6 years. My term ends this month, so it'll be over.
Do you get a paddle on your way out if there's the board member? Yeah.
Yeah, bruh.
You went raw on that one. I'm off.
Oh, bruh. No, we don't paddle anymore, bruh.
Oh,
That's
yeah,
old.
got it there, Mo? I'm sorry. That was
How many
bad.
paddles have you gotten, though? That's what I want to know.
I got a lot. You know, Tyrone, I watched the last episode, and when the last time a guest came on, you had mentioned, I hope it's not nobody from St. Aug. Well, hey, bro. Yeah, this time, it is somebody from St. Aug. Yeah, okay, nobody from St. Aug.
Mom didn't pay attention to that one.
Bro, let me.
It's cool when we met up in the airport, bro. All right, I see how it is.
We start our show off every time with what are you drinking? I don't know if I gave you the briefing on that, but let me just see what you're drinking there.
20 grand, baby.
Oh, that's
That's the good stuff
the
right there.
bank, they get the good stuff. You know what I mean?
20 grand.
Yeah.
That's why I
Pour
like
out the
it.
bottle. There you
Sit
go.
on people, bruh. See how them sit on people do you, bruh?
This
Yeah,
show's
bro.
gonna be lit tonight. He's drinking straight out the bottle.
That's my team member.
You know,
He gonna say some stuff he gonna regret on the internet tonight.
but you know, I gotta, you know, I've got to be responsible, and I got some water too, bro. Gotta go keep hydrated.
Yeah, yeah.
You didn't take that to the head like you did the other drink, right?
Yeah, he took a sip on the water, but he kicked that gold back, you know. Mark,
You got that right.
we've been talking about the NBA. We've just been talking about Anthony Davis signing the contract, LeBron James being locked up in the contract in the West. I see you have all your Pelicans gear on in the back. We want to talk about the Pelicans today. Brandon Ingram just signed his deal, 6-year, $195 million, I believe. With everything that's going on in the West, where do you think the Pelicans stand in the West? Are they a playoff team? Are they an emerging team? Where do you think they stand?
I think we're a fringe playoff team. I think because this year, much like in the bubble, they're allowing the 8th, 9th, and 10th seed to have some kind of play-in tournament. I think they probably will be in their 9th or 10th place around playoff time. And the main reason why I believe that is because you have a new coaching staff, so it takes time to learn a new system. We don't have a normal off season where they have time to do a normal training camp and learn expectations of Stan Van Gundy, because he's going to come in and stress defense, defense, and defense. In the past 2-3 years, it's been offense, offense, offense. So now you got a culture change with a new team, a lot of young players. So first of all, they're going to be receptive to that type of hard coaching of defense. I think, you know, in January, February, March, things will turn around and you'll see a Pelican team in March that you will not see in December and January. So I think because of that, they're going to be a fringe playoff team and possibly make their way into the playoffs during that play-in tournament.
That's a
Mark,
real good assessment. Go ahead, Tyrone.
Mark, what do you feel about Zion? And now that they signed at center, will Zion be playing a center position, or you think they have more of a freewheeling style of play in this system?
Well, when Stan Van Gundy has press conference, he envisioned Zion playing 3 positions, the 3, 4, and the 5. And of course, because it depends upon who you're playing. And we're going to be one of the teams that are different, where that we won't have a big center that's a spacing center. So we're going to have 2 big guys playing, much like the old days we had David Robinson and Tim Duncan. But, you know, if Zion comes in with a decent jump shot, maybe he can be a spacing 4 as opposed to Steven Adams being the spacing 5. So I envision Zion being more versatile, because I heard him also say that this past year he was just trying to fit in and he wasn't really playing his game. He's lost weight. He's finally lost weight and put down the chicken wings. So now that we have a different Zion, maybe he's worked on his jump shot. You know, maybe he can provide that spacing that we won't get with a big traditional type center with Steven Adams. But I envision him playing more with the ball in his hand as well. So he's a wild card. We don't know what's going to happen with this team, and I'm looking forward to see exactly what they're going to have.
You want him to be Zion, not Mount Zion, all right?
Right, he was Mount Zion this past year.
Don?
No, I
He's
agree.
fine.
Go ahead, Mark.
No, I was saying he finally lost some weight. So go ahead, Don.
Yeah, I agree with Mark's assessment. I mean, you look at, I would say, who would be the starter? If I had the chance to choose my starting 5 of the Pelicans right now, I got to go Lonzo, Eric Bledsoe, Brandon Ingram, Zion Williamson, and Steven Adams. That would be my starting 5. You have that Brandon Ingram who could be on the wing. You have Zion who could play the 4, and then you have Steven Adams at the 5. That's how I would line it up against a Laker 5. Because I'm thinking big. Go big and go strong.
Right.
Wow.
And I agree. I think they will go big to start off. And I think that first sub will be J.J. Redick, and possibly pulling Steven Adams out to giving you more shooting, more spacing, depending upon the team. With most teams being, you know, small and long and spacing teams, you bring in J.J. Redick, take out Steven Adams. Now you have more spacing on that floor, and you have a lot more opportunities to get Zion one-on-one in the hole against these smaller, slimmer centers and forwards in the league.
You know, my thing has been traditionally with the Pelicans has been the players only play one-way basketball. You don't have true combo players. Like for most of the Pelicans' history is they've been drafted one-way players. Ryan Anderson can shoot but can't defend. Peja
Agreed.
Stojakovic can shoot, can't defend. Solomon Hill can defend but can't shoot. Drew Holiday was that rare guy who could play defense and offense. And you lose a two-way player with him. I understand you want to turn the team over to Brandon Ingram. He's a proven commodity. He's a young guy. You want to get assets for Drew Holiday, who's like 30 on the other side of 30. So you want to do it. But the addition of Foster, which I kind of like his game, is another guy to me who's a little offensively challenged, who you can't sub in on offense when you want to get buckets from him. You know,
Who's this?
Adams, Steven Adams. I'm sorry, not Foster. Steven Adams, the center that we just got.
Sam. Okay.
Yeah. You really can't get buckets from him. He's more of a defensive stopper and a space eater. Like you said, not a space – the guy doesn't space you out, but eats up space in the paint. But not really a threat to score unless he's like 1 foot in front of the basket. So that's been my criticism. You got rid of Drew Holiday. But I agree that they're going to be challenging for that 8th spot. They have the talent, especially with Van Gundy preaching defense, which they sorely lacked in the last – since Monty Williams just score. And to Don's point, I see Lonzo starting, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Steven Adams, and I'm not sure on who that fourth person, whether it's Bledsoe or somebody else. I like the development of the guy Jackson Hayes. Is that his name also? Our backup center. He should be better this year also. But I see them challenging for playoffs, if not outright in the 8th spot, because you got to remember, Phoenix got better by adding Chris Paul again, also, who would also be pushing for that 8th spot.
Right.
And John Moran is still a monster in Memphis as well.
Seth Curry's back at Golden State, so you got to count them back in.
Yes.
I think that they going to make it to the playoffs because by the teams that's in there, Minnesota, Sacramento Kings, Memphis, they're going to still allow – Memphis is a good team. I don't know if they're going to make it over the hump. But with the veterans that's added and Stan Van Gundy is an experienced coach, I think they're going to make the playoffs in the West. Golden State hasn't really shown me that they have – they got Kelly Oubre and they got Draymond, but Klay Thompson is such a force for them, and it's going to have to be a team effort to replace him because not only can he shoot and get hot, and he doesn't even take a lot of dribbles to shoot either, if you think about it.
Another
but
two-way player.
Yeah, and his defense. So the chemistry that they have with passing that ball, you can't replicate that. You know, you have to just try to develop that with your even the way they came about it with Steve Kerr was like, hey, if y'all start passing the ball a certain amount of times, I'll let y'all miss practice the next day. And that was the impetus for them passing the ball, is so they would miss practice the next day. Is that crazy or what?
It is.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tyrone. You can't replicate that type of chemistry, especially what Mark said, with a shortened training camp. You know what I mean? The style of offense that Steve Kerr runs with that weak side, back door, screen off the screen, away from the strong side of the ball is something that, especially if you're a guy like Wiggins, Oubre, where you're used to kind of having the ball in your hands, you have to get used to that screen and backdoor screen type of offense. And as you said, not having Klay there is another guy that you have to that will keep the defense honest. You can't hedge now on Curry with Klay Thompson over there. You have to stick with him at all times. So now you got a guy that you can kind of just cheat off a little bit. I'm not worried about Oubre shooting a three. You know, it's all right. I'm not worried about Wiggins shooting a three. You know, he's all right. He's not a guy like Klay that can get you 50 in a game, you know.
Exactly. And I agree with you about the two-way players, and we lost Drew. But you got to remember, Eric Bledsoe was second team all defensive team last year ahead of Drew Holiday. The difference is Drew was 6'4" and Bledsoe was 6'1". So Bledsoe won't be able to cover those small forwards that Drew did.
True.
That's where I'm expecting and I'm hoping this team will progress if Brandon Ingram becomes a two-way player. He has to learn to play defense and commit to the defensive side. And he hasn't done that for the past 2 years. And he said that he wants to be that type of player. He's 6'9", with a 7-foot wingspan. He's your guy that has to be a key defender on that team on rotations as well as on the ball. If he makes that next step, and if Zion learns how to move his feet and play defense, we'll be a whole new different team next year. And I think even though we don't have the spacing and we'll be shooting a lot of twos, if we buckle down on defense with Zion and Brandon Ingram, I think we'll stop a lot of the 124 points that we playing against in the past, get folks down to 105, and I think we'll be okay in the next year. But like you said, we need more two-way players on that Pelicans team.
Maybe Zion can give his leftover chicken wings to Ingram so he can get bulked
Gain
up.
that weight. Yeah. Right. He needs to push habits.
I agree with Mark in the fact that, how many games did we watch the Pelicans lose in the fourth quarter?
Yep.
That was as a result of not playing defense down the stretch. I mean, you get comfortable with okay, we'll just let that man go and make a layup. Okay, we'll just let him just shoot an unchallenged shot. And it adds up before you know it. You're in a hole in the fourth quarter trying to say, I had the lead. How did we let this slip away? There's little defensive players said before 25. We trying to make sure we outscore them. And that never works if you're trying to go to the playoffs.
But if you remember, Don, didn't we have this conversation 2 years ago with the Lakers, which you inherited the Lakers team, Lonzo Ball, Ingram, and they were losing the same way. And you just Anthony Davis and LeBron said, we're going to give you all these players. And they get the same thing. And we brought in an offensive-minded coach from Golden State. Bring in somebody who is all running gun, no defense. I mean, look Alvin Gentry. Yes. Alvin Gentry. I mean, I'm very disappointed in the way we played. Come on, man. What's the adjustment? What adjustment are you going to make? Let's just stop talking about how disappointed you are. Every fourth quarter, you disappointed.
Disappointed, right?
We disappointed in you too, Alvin Gentry.
The feel is mutual.
Yeah, that's the Black D'Antoni.
I'm disappointed. Right. I'm disappointed. I was playing great defense on Mark, and he still made the three-pointer. I'm disappointed in that.
I don't know how we lost so many games. The way we started off playing, man, we was rolling, and then all of a sudden we hit a lull. I just don't know what happened.
Well, you got hot.
I think it's what we talked about here today. Two-way players, guys that play offense and defense.
Yeah. Well, I was playing some defense, brother.
You playing on me?
Defense on you.
Wow, all right. We're gonna put a little. I'm gonna make my little mixtape and put it on the video here.
Turn around and then see some of my players getting victimized. I'm not saying Mark. Because me and Mark was taking turns checking you. But when I turn around and see dealt with down low, that's a hard pill to swallow.
I'm not gonna say the name of the player who was kind of getting victimized, but the initials are Andrew Jackson Jr.'s with the initials.
It is not the president, right?
Not
the president.
You're wrong,
Black version. The black version.
To talk about our teammate like that.
He was once my teammate too, I guess.
Yeah.
So what if y'all gonna do playoff order for the West? Give us the lineup 1 through 8, 9, and 10 of who y'all think is gonna make the playoffs this year in the West.
Ooh. Okay, I'll go first.
Go ahead.
Lakers.
Okay.
Denver.
Okay.
Clippers.
Okay.
I'm gonna put Portland up there.
Okay.
Let's see. Shoot, who am I missing here?
You got Utah, Houston,
Dallas, and Utah.
Dallas. There you go. And then I'll put the Pelicans, and I'll put Memphis in.
Okay. Don?
I mean, I agree with everything Ty said, except, I don't know if you said Denver, Ty?
Yeah.
That was second.
I said Denver second, yeah.
Denver second. I'm trying to think who might be in there that was there. And I don't think Houston. I'd be shocked to see Houston make it. That would be a surprise for me. Everybody else, I think they have a good chance.
I forgot about Houston. I think I'll put Houston in.
You put
Houston out.
I'll take
No,
Memphis?
I think San Antonio.
I'll take Memphis up.
You never underestimate them. Somehow they always make the playoffs.
Not last year.
Yeah, but it was close.
Yeah.
Mark,
Oh,
what you have?
Phoenix. Wait, man, I forgot about Phoenix. Did I put them in?
Tight?
No. Yeah. All right,
You
Mark.
right on the spot, Sty.
All right.
So that
I will
drinking had
go-
you on pause.
Say it again.
I thought that drinking had you on pause.
I was trying to write them out because they got so many teams in the West that can compete.
Right.
I'm gonna go Lakers, Clippers, Utah, Denver, Dallas, Phoenix, Houston, Pelicans, Golden State, and then Memphis. That's your top 10.
Okay. Can't argue with that too much. I see you. Look, a lot of people don't realize Dallas was really close to beating the Clippers. I
Right.
mean, they had a bad ejection on Porzingis in game 1 when they had him on the ropes.
He was hurt.
Yes. Then Porzingis got hurt and was out of game. Then what's your boy's name? Luka Doncic got hurt also, and they kept trying to step on his ankle. They were giving the Clippers the business, man. What did that series go? 6 games or something like that?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So Luka's only what, 20 years old? He's
Okay,
gonna
what's your lineup, bro? What's your lineup?
Oh, my 1 through 10. That's what you're trying to do.
Yeah,
You're trying to
you're
rush
just
the
getting
whole-
on your little Dallas diatribe there.
That's
man.
fine, bro. That's fine, my man, bro. I thought we was on the same team. You're gonna throw me a
You
zip
were, bro.
like Knicks game.
You helped me win, bro. But that's how I get you to win, bro. We focus on you.
You're right. You're right.
Okay.
You're right. I gotta focus. You're right. When you're right, you're right. So I have Lakers 1. I have Denver 2. I have Clippers 3rd. I think they lost something. I have Golden State up there. They got Wiseman, so he's gonna be a force people have to get adjusted to as their number 1 draft pick. I've got Portland in the mix at 5. I got Houston at like 6. I have Dallas at 7. I have hometown crowd. I'll go Pelicans at 8. And then you're starting to put, I don't know if I say the Rockets yet.
Phoenix.
Yeah,
You say Utah?
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't think I said Utah either.
What you think about Minnesota?
Yeah, I think what's going to happen is it's going to be injuries that determine the top 8 because there's so many teams in the West. You got 11 teams that could be in that top 8. But Clay was the first domino to fall. Who's going to be next to fall? I mean, you got to, it's a different kind of season. And other thing I think about is COVID. Who might catch the virus during the week? It's like we played the Broncos and the Saints, and we had no quarterback. Imagine if LeBron catch the virus or somebody else catch the virus and they out a week that they got 3 or 4 games. So what if it goes among a team where you get 3 or 4 players that make test positive? So there's a lot of factors that are going to play into who's in that top 8 besides injuries, but also sickness.
That's a good point. I'm going to add this. The NBA has already done a pre-test on the NBA players, and 41
48.
players tested positive.
48 now.
48 now. Wow.
Yeah. And it's not even Christmas. It's not even Christmas yet.
And maybe it's a good thing. Maybe if they catch it early, they may not catch it again, or they're less apt to catch it a second time. So maybe that's a good thing. We don't know, but you got to control your staff, your trainers. I mean, all these folks are going home in these homes, and these wives and sons and daughters, and come in contact with these trainers, and they go back to the arena. I mean, you just never know. You have to be safe. It's gonna be difficult.
Yeah, that's interesting too. That's interesting because in football, if you lose a couple of players, you can still play the game, and even if you reschedule it, you can reschedule it. But 82 games, and how do you reschedule that and make it fair is rough. So you have to have some policy in place because you can be a detriment to your team, like you say. So like Lemon Pepper Lou, if he has to go out there and get a little, lemon pepper stuff,
Making it rain in Atlanta. Making it rain.
Right.
Make it rain on the court.
Hey, the Hawks might have a major advantage when they come to town, just sitting in the Magic City on,
Got special wings, but
Oh man, but I tell you this much: I bet the NBA get the vaccine before we do in Gentilly. I tell you that much.
yeah, you're right. That's money. That's money.
Get fresh off the boat. You know what I mean?
Yep. That's money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, guys, I appreciate having Mark on the show this week.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, very, very insightful. We like hearing his, opinion, his assessment on the NBA. We got to definitely have you back again. We got the big fight coming up. If y'all is anybody gonna watch this fight? I already put my $50 on Mike Tyson. And I don't know if Errol Spence and I'm gonna get my money tomorrow. So
My money on Nate Robinson.
get
Poor
him,
Nate.
man. Nate Robinson.
Oh, that's cool.
Poor Nate. They went night.
Night. That's the new name.
I saw a
Night,
meme
night,
that
Nate.
said-
Nate.
I saw a meme that said that he was supposed to be watching Rocky, not Carl Weathers. Apollo Creed when he fought Dolph Lundgren. I was like, oh man.
You studying the wrong part, huh?
Right, you
He
just
was watching the wrong Rocky.
right.
Oh man, that's messed up.
All right,
Cool.
fellas. Well, thanks again for joining us. We'll see y'all next week, everybody. Again, if you want to call into the show, inboxes, hit us up. We've been having some really good guests lately. We'll take them from all walks of life, from all over the country. Thanks again for Mark Bucree for showing up and giving us his opinion. And we'll see y'all next time on Shoot the J.
Shoot.
Good Jay. Peace out. Take care, guys.
All right.